everybody. Guess what day it is? Does anybody know what day it is? What day it is? We have our friend and fellow Easter enthusiast, Bunny Chicken Bunny, that you haven't seen for a long time. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Can you see me? Oh, there you are. Yeah. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, well, I'm here, so it kind of is Easter. Yeah. And I really enjoyed being out, hanging out and doing stuff with Cheryl. It's been pretty fun, because I am a bunny chicken bunny, which is amazing. I know, it's like Easter, man. Bunny chicken bunny. So he is with me. We are together. We're all here. Bear's here. And what else is it? Does anybody remember? Come on, help Bear out. Does anybody remember? Well, I remember. This is Bear's adoption weekend. Thank you. Yeah. It's when I came to live with Cheryl, so we celebrate it. It's the best day of my life. I do, and we met on Easter Sunday. I told you that amazing story. So we met on Easter Sunday and been together ever since. Gosh, I think it was 25 years ago. Yeah, I remember you still had that yoo-hoo for a boyfriend. I know. Yeah, I didn't much like him. Yeah, I know. I thought he was good, but he did actually buy you, Bear, so I think that's very, very good. And we did happen to have a good day that day. I remember it was one of the most amazing kind of days. We had some fun on Easter Sunday, but yeah, I think it was 2000 maybe. That was an interesting year. So we met and we became friends. Yes, we did. And here we are now, still going strong. 25 years on. I know. Here we are, 25 years on. We may look a bit different, but we're still together. Yes, we are. And Bunny Chicken is joining us today. Yeah, happy to be a part of it all. Happy Easter, everybody. Yeah. So what we're going to do, as it is Good Friday, we want to briefly talk about what does that mean, because I watched this amazing video about why do they call it Good Friday when it doesn't seem very good. Because, of course, at first look, you're like, there's nothing good about that. That's brutal. But good doesn't just mean, yeah, whatever, yeah, I like the movie, or yeah, that was a great donut, although it can. It means holy and deep and good and sacred. In the older church, in the old-timey church, it meant holy. Right, holy, powerful, amazing. And it does still mean that in some circles, like the good, as in I'm getting the good, or the good is important in philosophy. It means that. It means holy, righteous, awesome, amazing. That's what it means. It means right. Good and right means sort of the same thing in that way. So that's what Good Friday also means. And as terrible as it was, if you had been there, with Jesus being so abused and so attacked for something he didn't do, so betrayed by one of his very own. Who here knows what that feels like? Way too many times. But I'm working on it. So we're talking about that, and that happened to him on this day, on Good Friday. But he endured it all, right? He endured it all. Them beating him, them hitting him, them stripping him, them making him carry a cross. And I think the important thing to be aware of is Pontius Pilate, who was the governor, because, of course, it was a Roman-occupied city. Rome had an enormous empire, and unfortunately, they had Jerusalem under their thumb a little, or a lot. So there was a governor, it was Pontius Pilate, and yeah, he could be brutal. He could be, he was the conqueror, so he acted like he was. And so they brought him, obviously, the Jewish people who betrayed him, Judas, for example, and everybody else brought him to Caiaphas, who was the lead. He was kind of the leader. He was kind of, the religious leader of, I believe he was a Pharisee, I think that's what they called them. Of course, Judas did feel bad, and we have to make that point. He did feel bad betraying him. He just wanted Jesus to be more of a warrior king, and he really wasn't. He came that we might have life and have it to the full. He came to save us. He came to redeem all of us. And he came to bring love into the world. And he did. So, and he still is. So that's really good. So that's also what Good Friday means too. And the important thing is that Pontius Pilate wanted to save him. He didn't see anything wrong with him. He didn't see any crime that Jesus had committed. But the just really awful people, his people, the Jewish people, did. Right? So they saw awful things in him. Apparently, they didn't want him to actually even exist. And they were jealous and everything, I guess. And so they wanted to crucify him. So that's just important to be aware of, because not everybody knows that it wasn't Pontius Pilate's fault, even though his soldiers were the ones that did do it, and they were brutal, but then they were also taught to do that because they had to do it, right? Because they worked for Rome. So that's something very important to know, that they didn't have really a choice in doing that. So we're going to talk about the stories. We got a couple stories. This was one. Oh, they put a goody. The Osborne Easter story that I bought so very long ago. I might have talked about it years and years ago, but I thought, it's worth looking at today. It's not a very long story. It's quite short, but I thought we would talk about it. Bear, what do you think? Yeah, sorry, everybody. I was just listening. You know me. I like listening to Cheryl. Hello, everybody. Yes, it is my adoption weekend. And I'm so happy to be with Cheryl and to be associated with such a holy, beautiful, amazing time of the year. Well, I think God did that personally. I know that he has anointed you, that he has put you above all bears as you are with me. So he honored me by giving you to me on Easter. So I feel very honored, and I do too. I'm very, very glad that Cheryl is with me and that I'm with Cheryl. So that's good. We are together. So, yeah, so this is Bear's, not really a birthday, kind of adoption day time, but we're going to talk about a couple of books. So I think we only do it once a year, Bear Cakes. We should do the Bear's Book Corner Easter edition. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay, I'll even sing, because it's a holy day, so I'll even sing. Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner right now. Bam, bam, bam. Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Easter Book Corner. Bear's Book Corner right now. Bam, bam, bam. Yes, indeed. It's Good Friday, so it's technically our Good Friday Book Corner. So, yeah, you could just rest Baby Cakes, Pa, if you want. Yeah, okay, it's going to be here, yeah, it's okay, because he likes listening, and I like reading, so it all works out for the good, right? I enjoy a good read. Yeah, go ahead. As do I. Yeah, we know it. So it's kind of a book for children in a way, or for people who are just learning to read. Either. Or maybe people who are just learning English. So here we are. So, can you guys see it? There it is. Okay, so Jesus is going into Jerusalem triumphantly for, I believe, Passover, which is a very, very big holiday in the Jewish religion. Because as we know, Jewish was what the religion was back then for most people in Jerusalem. And Jesus was for sure Jewish, right? So Jesus went to Jerusalem. He rode into the city of Jerusalem on a donkey. His 12 disciples, 13, if you count Mary Magdalene, and I do, walked along with him. The people cheered Jesus. They laid down palms and they put them on the road. They had heard he was their new leader. So last Sunday was something called Palm Sunday, which I was very much a part of when I was younger. Which is celebrating Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Here we go, everybody. You can see it. This is all about the Last Supper. Hopefully, Hopefully you can see it. Yeah. That night, Jesus had a special supper. Jesus told his disciples that he would die soon. Of course, he knew this already, right? Which must have been so awful to know that this was already going to happen, to not even be surprised. Judas, one of the disciples, left the room. And in one of the movies that I saw that I really liked, he says to Judas, Judas, go do what you are meant to do. So, and Judas is all like messed up because he's like, what? And he but he knows that he knew. Like, do what you're going to do. So then Jesus broke some bread. He gave a piece to each disciple. This is my body, which I give for you, because Jesus is giving his life. So this is a symbol of Jesus giving his life already for everybody, right? Jesus picked up a cup of wine. This is my blood. I give it for you and for all people, he said. Each disciple drank wine from the cup. Then Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. 11 disciples went with him. Well, Mary Magdalene was not there at that time. Jesus had gone to tell the enemies of Jesus where to find them. So that's pretty bad. So these are not the Romans, though. These are the Jewish leaders, the Jewish soldiers, those kind of people. That's who's coming. Right? And so, Jesus knows how you feel because he felt the same way. That comforts me so much, that Jesus didn't want to do this thing. Why would anybody want to do it? But he knew that his Father's will was everything. His Father was what he wanted, like not what I say, what you say. And so that's what I really do try and believe every day of my life. It's not what I want, God, it's what you want, right? So, although he often wants what we want too, right? So that's the good thing. So, okay, did everybody see this one? Okay, that's it. So, let's see what we're going to do next. Okay. Soldiers came to arrest Jesus. The temple priests accused Jesus of saying he was a king. They said he had broken the laws of God. He was God. And that's the whole point. They weren't. They were afraid of Jesus. They thought Jesus wanted all the people to fight against them and their Roman rulers, which is not true, right? Because some of the people, and this is a despicable thing, some of the people benefited from the Romans being there. Some of the Jewish people actually benefited from it, so they didn't necessarily want to change everything. You guys saw this one, right? Yes, you did. I believe you did. There it is. Okay, let's keep going. They took Jesus to the Roman governor. The priest told lies about Jesus. The governor didn't want Jesus to be killed, but he agreed. The soldiers beat Jesus. They made him carry a heavy cross up a hill. He was very tired and often fell down. Well, because they hadn't fed him, they hadn't given him any water, and they had beaten him, pretty much all day or half the day. And so he was very weak already. And then they made him carry his own cross to the crucifixion, which was very, very heavy. Let me try that one again. Right there. They nailed Jesus to a cross. They put up 2 other crosses. Jesus' mother and his friends were there, and of course Mary Magdalene was obviously there. Jesus died at midday on Friday. That evening, a friend called Joseph of Arimathea took Jesus away. He put him in a tomb on the hill, which was his tomb. Again, he gave his tomb to Jesus to be not really buried, but to actually just be inside the tomb, because of course the Jewish people had a custom. Mary Magdalene, a friend of Jesus's, went to the tomb. It was early on Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning. Mary looked in the tomb. It was empty. Jesus was gone. What would you think? Mary spoke to a man. She thought he was the gardener. Where have you taken Jesus? She said. Mary, said the man. Mary saw it was Jesus. And that is Easter, right? He came so that we might have life. He rose again. He defeated all evil everywhere. He rose again. So that's why we say he is risen. He is risen indeed. That is why we say that. Okay, I showed you guys this one. There it is. Give it another one. Give you another one. And then we got this one. Jesus is alive. Mary ran to tell his friends. They were very happy. They often saw Jesus before he went to heaven. Well, or the spirit realm, or the afterlife, or whatever you want to call it. We know now that it might not actually be what heaven is. It might be something else, but it's glorious and wonderful either way. And that life continues, right? It does. So that's important. Oh, Bear, do you want to say something? Yeah, that was so beautiful. And I know that Cheryl's life will continue. And I hope mine will too. Well, I asked God. I said to God, baby has to come with me. Like, it's a deal, right? He has to come with me. So, yeah, I think he's gonna make it happen, man. Which is good. Yeah, amen. Yeah. So we're going to look at a couple of other things. Not to make this too long, but I wanted to share this one with you too. 101 Favorite Stories of the Bible, because it's an older kind of book. Back when I was much, much younger, they didn't have the kind of cartoony Jesus books like they do now. We had kind of still very sacred, powerful, not really grown-up books, but more, befitting of Jesus and the glory and the wonder of everything. So I love those, and I kind of miss them a little bit because now they have a lot of sort of cartoony, almost silly kind of books, which I don't know if that's the best way to talk about Jesus, but maybe it is, cartoons and stuff like that, which I think is still good because we want kids to be aware of Jesus, but we also want them to know how amazing it is and how glorious it is, right, as well, how good it is. So we're going to talk about what happened. Let me see if I can find it. Here. Oh, hang on. So we're going to talk about Jesus being crucified right here. So this, of course, remember, was I saying that they sometimes write something? So they wrote something on the top of the cross saying that Jesus was the King of the Jews, right? And so that's very, very powerful and very, very sad and very, very brutal and everything, right? If you had been there, it would have been a very awful thing to see. And God was mad. Don't think he wasn't, right? Jesus is crucified, a great day of suffering. So even though we call it Good Friday, it is awesomely bad too, right? It's awesome in the way that Jesus is here, but it was bad. Pilate didn't know what to do, right? If remember, I was saying about Pilate didn't want to kill him, but the Jewish people wanted him to be killed. He did not want to condemn an innocent man, besides his own wife, which not everybody talks about. His own wife had a dream that said, "Leave the righteous man alone. This morning I have suffered much pain in a dream." So Pilate didn't want to do anything and really tried to convince the Jewish people to save him, to understand that, but they just wouldn't. And of course, he had to release the prisoner that they wanted, because it was something that they did give to them for their religion. So he had to do it, kind of. But the angry mob kept roaring, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Soon they all began to shout, "Set Barabbas free!" Barabbas was an evil, terrible man. Think of the worst person and the most evil person you could ever imagine, and that's who Barabbas was. The Jews did not really care about Barabbas. He was a convicted criminal, but they knew Pilate usually freed one prisoner during Passover. They would free anybody else, even a murderer, rather than Jesus. nervously. Well, Pontius Pilate washed his hands before the crowd. He said, I'm not responsible for this man's death. And then he tried more to save Jesus. But he said, well, he ordered the soldiers to whip Jesus. He ordered them to put crowns on his, like thorns on his head as a crown, dressed him in a robe, because purple robes were considered royal, and placed a stick in his right hand. Surely now, he thought, the Jewish people would think that he had been hurt enough. He had been brutalized enough, considering he hadn't done anything, and they would pity him when they saw him, but they didn't. And that's something to know. Pilate brought him before them and said, behold the man. Again, show you the picture. Behold the man. But the mob only grew louder. Away with him. Crucify him. At last Pilate gave up because he had to do it. He had to do something, but again, it wasn't his fault. He freed Barabbas and allowed them to take Jesus out of the city to a place where they crucified people. There, Jesus was nailed to a cross. Though Jesus, he was in agony, he did not hate his enemies. He prayed, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. 2 thieves were also crucified that day, one on either side of Jesus. One of them taunted, if you are Christ, get down and save yourself. Despicable. But the other, as somebody who's been through plenty, I understand what Jesus does here, and it's so glorious that the other man stood up for him. But the other thief said, we deserve to die. But this man is innocent. Turning to Jesus, he pleaded, when you come into your kingdom, remember me. And that's the offer, right? That's what Jesus gives every one of us, if we will but take it. So then Jesus says that he would do more than that. Immediately, Jesus answered, you will be with me in paradise this very day. At noon, the whole world was plunged into darkness. Jesus kept on suffering for 3 more lonely hours. Just before he died, he said, it is finished. His work on earth was done. Now he could free the whole world from the grip of sin and evil. Suddenly the earth shook, rocks split apart, and many things happened. The Holy of Holies, the curtain, was ripped in two. The frightened centurion, who was a Roman soldier, said, surely this man was the Son of God. And he was, and he is, and he continues to be. So that's what we say. What do we say, Bear? Well, we say lots of things. But we say, praise be to Jesus. That's always important. And then we always say, he has risen. He has risen indeed. Yes. And what's the last one? As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Yeah, because baby knows it. And so do I. So that is our Good Friday story. It's emotional. But we hope we all do have indeed a Good Friday. And we'll see you guys again soon. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Easter Day. Coming on up, right? Sunday. Bye, everybody.